All right, we're back. We had a little bit of a snafu with my phone was broken. I broke it. I'll own it. About a week and a half ago, and it took forever to get the new one and get it back up and running. Long story, chaos with two-factor authentication. What a nightmare that stuff is. When it works, and when it doesn't, oh boy, it doesn't work at all. Here's where we're at. So the last week and a half, I've also been knocking stuff out. These smart outlets are in up there with new covers to keep the weather out. I think I mentioned these before. I can turn them on and off with the phone, and they're up, they're good, they're tested and ready for winter. You got the windows still haven't been replaced on the basement. Gutters are on the entire side of the other side of the house. This side I still have to hit, but this side's a two-person job, so you're gonna need some assistance with that. Let's go check out the basement though. I'll show you where we're at down here, since this is the primary culprit these days. Look! Woo-hoo! Very shiny. Not so much, it's matte paint, but new floor. All 2 coats of dry lock on it now, and running around with a brush doing 3rd coat spot checks to fill in the gaps that we missed. This section was just done with the 1st coat this morning. Had to thin it down to get it into, because this is a lot rougher concrete than the other stuff, and got more pits and valleys in it. So water that stuff down and it seeps in for the 1st coat. You still have to hit a 2nd coat. Thomas hit this wall this morning with the 2nd coat. Still have 2nd coat of wall to do there and here, and just the top half over here. The rest of it is ready for prime time. All has 2 coats and some spot checks for 3rd coats on the walls as well. So this is working so far. We've seen a significant drop in the humidity levels since even half the basement floor was done. And this thing over here actually shut off for the first time after I had done 50% of the basement floor with dry lock on just the 1st coat. And it was finally able to start catching up. So we definitely have a lot of moisture coming through here. I can't walk over there to show you, so you have to look from a distance, but you can see that pipe over there in the corner. That was the one leaking sewer gas. And that's sealed up, but came down, we had a nor'easter, which is a storm that spins off the Gulf of Maine. We get them, a lot of heavy snowfall in New England from them, also rainfall this time of year. And I came down the next morning, and there was a big puddle on the floor over there, and leaks coming through the floor in the middle of the basement and everywhere else. So we had to rush and divert attention to getting the rest of the gutters on that side, and we're gonna have to do this side of the house as well, because the running theory is the water's coming down the sides of the foundation. As you can see, they used cinder block, and they did not seal the outside of the cinder blocks with tar, which I've learned is necessary, and the water is seeping through, which causes a lot of the staining that you see in the mold that was on the walls prior to us painting, and it will even come back through because the moisture keeps coming down. So we may have to, by the looks of it, if the gutters can't divert enough of the water, we're going to have to dig the side of the foundation all the way down to this floor and seal all of that stuff to keep the water from coming back in. And because basically it's just coming down the walls and also going into the middle, and you'll see by this chimney there's damp spots after a rainstorm that show up. And then we also have a bit of an emergency over here. This is the old well pipe. There's a shallow well out in the yard, and I had sealed it off early this year. I capped it and disconnected it. I also, this kept dripping, So I had put some spray foam in there just to give it a seal, stop the drips. That nor'easter came down, water was just pouring out of that pipe. On the other side, it was around the outsides of the pipe. Here it was out of the middle. There was so much water pressure coming in, it blew out the spray foam, which means the pipe is actually broken in the ground somewhere, and that would explain why when we tried to use the well pump that was here when we moved in, it was full of a lot of sediment and rust. So I actually capped this thing, and you can see right now this is fairly shallow, but when it rains, it bubbles out that rubber boot, and you can see the water pressure behind it. But that's where we're at. We're back, and keep giving you updates. We're gonna hit these walls with the second coat that we missed or haven't got to yet, and then we're gonna be just tackling these windows before winter sets in. All right, out.